What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. J. Rock Williams, unified champion at 154 pounds, the junior middleweight champion, is defending his belts against Jeison Rosario at Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hometown fight for J. Rock. And it should be an interesting fight, man. The only problem I got with this fight is the date and the time, man. You know, the PBC and boxing got to understand, man, that they're a niche sport, and you're going against, and you putting your fight on at the same time as LeBron James, man, making his prime time debut for the 2019-2020 season against James Harden and the Houston Rockets, man. That game's going to be going on ABC on Channel 13, 30 minutes after the fight card starts with the PBC. That's going to take place 7 o'clock Central Time, man. You know, you're going against that. Then you got McGregor fighting, making his long-awaited comeback as he took about a year off after he lost to Khabib. So he's looking to get a good win, and he's talking about fighting McGregor. I mean, he's talking about fighting Pacquiao and Mayweather, Paulie Malignaggi, or maybe fighting Khabib, Tony Ferguson winner. So there's a lot of things. Mataval is, I think that's probably going to be the guy he most likely fights, but it's a lot of names thrown out that McGregor could fight if he gets through the fight against Cowboy Cerrone. So it's a lot of eyeballs going to be on that fight. So this is going to be tough to see this fight getting a lot of high ratings. Put it like that. It'll be interesting to see what kind of ratings J. Rock and Jeison Rosario do tonight, man, with so much competition going on at the same time where this fight is slated to take place. I think J. Rock them probably will be in the ring around 8:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere around that time, Eastern Standard Time. So maybe that fight will be over with before McGregor steps into the ring. But it's basically going to be going head-to-head with LeBron James versus James Harden. A big game between two teams that could potentially meet up in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens, man. But I'm going to break this fight down, man. A lot of people been complaining about the fight, man. I'm not complaining about this fight. I'm just complaining about the time, man. I think this fight is not a bad fight. As long as we get J. Rock against Jermell Charlo the next fight, or at least J. Rock versus Jarrett Hurd in the next fight. I don't mind it. This is like an in-between fight, man. Jeison Rosario is a solid fighter, man. I seen his last couple fights. He actually knocked the dude clear out the ring. A guy named Jamonte Clark. If I ain't butchering his name, man, he knocked that guy clean out the ring with I think it was a straight right that Jamonte Clark didn't see and knocked the guy out the ring. The guy actually got back in the ring and beat the count. As the rules say, if you knocked out the ring, you get a 20 count. So he got back in the ring. I think he would have actually beat a 10 count. If he didn't fall on his head, he actually got back in the ring. But Jeison Rosario was able to dominate him after that fight, man. So that was a good win, man, coming off the back of a loss to Gallimore, Nathaniel Gallimore. That fight was very competitive, man, but he got hurt in that fight, Rosario. And I think his inexperience showed up in that fight, man. He didn't know how to when to hold or when to throw your punches and then hold and stuff like that. Like he was holding too much and his legs wasn't there, and he ended up getting knocked down. And he got back and he tried to fight and ended up getting knocked out. Instead of throwing some punches and then hold, hitting him with some shots to get some respect and then hold until you get your legs back. It's kind of like a sweet science to how to hang on when you're badly hurt, and he just didn't know. His inexperience showed up, kind of like Thomas Hearns in the first Sugar Ray Leonard fight, man. He didn't know how to hold, and Jeison Rosario inexperience showed up in that fight. But ever since that loss, he's come back and fought, very well, man. He's not a great fight. He doesn't do anything great, but he does a good job of keeping the high guard up and kind of walking his opponent down, throwing straight, short, accurate shots, and putting that mental pressure on his opponent. The thing about J. Rock is J. Rock can fight either way. He can fight in a phone booth type of fight. If you want to fight in close range, he's a good body puncher, good uppercuts. He can fight close range too, man. Then he can fight from a distance too, as he's got a very good skills as far as on the outside too, man. Good jab, good power shots, man. Good body shots, man. He's a complete fighter, J. Rock, man. And that's gonna be the problem with Rosario. In his last couple fights, I think with he fought Jamonte Clark, knocked him out. He was able to close the distance and make it uncomfortable for him on his way to a unanimous decision. Now when he fought what's the last guy he fought? The last guy he fought in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was on the undercard of a fight. I think it was either Jamal James main event or it might have been Adriano Lara versus Brian Castano. It was one of those two fights. He fought on the undercard. He fought an up-and-coming prospect, and it was a back-and-forth battle. He ended up stopping him. I think the guy's name was Rodriguez. ended up stopping either Rosario or Rodriguez, man. But it was a FS1 fight, and that's the fight that ended up landing him the opportunity to fight J. Rock Williams, man. He did a good job of closing the distance and making Rosario Rodriguez fight his type of fight. And he was able to break him down, man. But Rosario was a guy that was undefeated going into that fight. He was a guy that was, if he would have kept on winning, would have eventually got a title shot, man. But Jeison Rosario actually wasn't supposed to win that fight. He wasn't a favorite in that fight, but he was able to get him to fight his type of fight, a 5-fight type of fight, and he's able to land his punches, man, and beat him based on experience and grit, out-gritting him, man. That guy had never been into that type of fight. I don't even think he had been in the fight going the distance, going into the second half of that fight. His lack of experience in fighting in the second half of fights, I'm talking about 6 through 10, 6 through 12. His lack of experience fighting in a high competition, high-level fight showed up. And Rosario, based on his coming up short against the Daniel Gallimore, was able to use experience to eventually get the stoppage in that fight. So it should be an interesting fight, man. But Rosario I think he's gonna give a good account of himself, but he just doesn't do anything well. Doesn't have a great power. Doesn't have he doesn't have a great jab. But he's just a guy that's very mentally strong, and he's a guy that's he's gonna make you uncoupled. I think he's gonna try to walk down J. Rock Williams and try to make it a fight in close quarters and try to back up J. Rock. But the problem with that is Jerry Hurd did that. Jerry Hurd was much more effective in that style than Jeison Rosario, and you saw what happened with when he fought J. Rock. J. Rock dropped him multiple times en route to a unanimous dominating decision in Jerry Hurd's hometown of Baltimore, Maryland, or either right outside his hometown of Baltimore, Maryland. I don't think it was actually his hometown, but it was basically a hometown fight for Jared Hurd. So we'll see what happens, man. But I got J. Rock Williams by late stoppage over Jeison Rosario. I think he'll break him down, maybe drop him a couple of times, and I think he'll overwhelm him, take over, and I think the referee will jump in and wave the fight out. So I got a 11th round TKO victory for J. Rock Williams in his hometown fight, and hopefully we get, after this performance, J. Rock versus Jermell Charlo fight for unification at 154 pounds, or at the very least, we get J. Rock Williams versus Jared Hurd. Now, my mistake. Now, even if J. Rock fights Jermell Charlo, I don't think it'll be a unification fight, but it won't be for undisputed. I think the WBO is still out there, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. I think, what is it? Patrick Teixeira is the WBO junior middleweight champion. So, but this is exactly what will be a unification fight with Jermell Charlo. He'll be putting his WBC title on the line, and J. Rock Williams will be putting up his multiple belts on the line at 154. So we'll see what happens in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Temple University. It should be a good crowd out there. Will they sell out? That remains to be seen, but I know they have a good crowd out there because Philadelphia is a good boxing city, and we'll see what happens. A lot of boxing greats have fought out of there. Joe Frazier, Bernard Hopkins. You got guys fighting out there right now. Jaron Ennis, Danny Garcia, guys of that ilk are fighting out of that city right now. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what transpires, man. Leave your comments in the comment section what round you think J. Rock Williams will win in. Will it be a knockout? Will it be a decision? Or are you picking Jared Rosario for the upset victory and pick the round, or you think he'll win on the decision? It's going to be kind of hard for him to win the decision in J. Rock Williams' hometown, but make your predictions, and I'll comment on it if I think you're right, if I think you're wrong, or if I think it's possible, or if I think it may be very, 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 very little chance of that happening. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. Holla.